Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about the Los Angeles Clippers because on paper, the Los Angeles Clippers, there is definitely an argument to be made that they have the best roster in the entire league. But I would say, definitely confirmed top 10 on paper, not on paper, whatever the hell you want to say. The Los Angeles Clippers at full strength are by far a really talented team. I don't think anyone's really arguing that. So today, clearly, we're talking about the Los Angeles Clippers. I was doing a lot of research. I was watching some film in preparation for, basically on this channel, I'm doing a series, doing like a super deep dive, like at least 20 minutes of every single team in the NBA in preparation for this upcoming year. And I'm looking at this Clippers. We talk about the Clippers on my show every day, or not every day. We talk about the Clippers like every week, and it's just, every time I get back to them, it's like, hold on. This is a team that you had Paul George play 30 or so games, you had no Kawhi Leonard, and you made the play-in tournament. On a very deep Western Conference, they made do with what they had, and in my opinion, they only improved in the offseason. I mean, we take a look at the main move, which was John Wall. They acquired John Wall through, I guess, technically free agency in the buyout market once he was bought out from the Houston Rockets. And I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with John Wall because basically, I've been covering the Rockets for 2 years, so I've had plenty of time experiencing the John Wall effect. We saw him play about 41 games 2 seasons ago. He was putting up 21 and 7. John Wall literally, in the year that the Houston Rockets traded away James Harden, the Rockets were a horrible team, unfortunately, especially record-wise. But John Wall kept us in almost every single game. Like, quite genuinely, especially once Kevin Porter Jr. got traded and brought up from the G League to the Houston Rockets squad. John Wall was doing a little bit of everything. But the only thing was, he was resting. They were resting him a lot. He only played half the season. So we saw a very limited sample size of John Wall. And then he sat out all last year. So to be quite honest with you, John Wall hasn't played much basketball in the last couple of seasons. I'm pretty sure I could click this here. I'm on Real Jam. And we'll talk about Reggie Jackson here in a second, but in the last 3-4 years, John Wall's basically played 40 basketball games. And so I'm curious to see if they're going to go with Reggie Jackson as the starter or John Wall coming off of the bench. In my honest opinion, I think, first off, we're going to see a lot of resting from the Clippers, and we should see a lot of resting. I want to make one thing abundantly clear. I don't think you need to play, I know Kawhi in specific has gotten a lot of backlash for just kind of rest management, i.e., et cetera, et cetera. If I have a superstar on my team and Kawhi Leonard, he can honestly do whatever he wants because at the end of the day, there's a ton of vets on this team. Not old-ass vets, but guys right there in their prime or entering their prime at the start of their prime. I mean, you look at their entire roster, and here's what my guess the starting lineup will look like. John Wall, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Zubats. That's what I think the starting five would look like. But you have a bunch of different options. I mean, you have Terrence Mann there. You got Norman Powell there. You got Robert Covington, Nicholas Batum. You have a bunch of players who could be coming off of the bench from bench coming into starters. So that's a little bit of what we saw last year when injuries occurred. But you have guys like, Batum, Covington. No one's arguing that these guys are at the top of their prime or at the peak of their playing careers. But these guys are chipping in ways that go beyond the stat sheet. I look at those. Well, I'll just talk about those two guys right off the gate. Batum, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Robert Covington, 9.6 rebounds. They had nice impacts on the Los Angeles Clippers. And, a couple of those guys like Norman Powell, Robert Covington, they didn't get there until a little bit later on, but they definitely chipped in. They chipped in. This is all in all a really good offensive team, a really good defensive team, and in my opinion, they have one of the best coaches in the entire NBA, if not the most talented coach in the NBA, in Tyronn Lue. He's extremely underrated. I think he gets too much he gets memed too much because of the whole Allen Iverson, I don't even need to go into detail on that, but Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the entire NBA. I will just, that needs to be known. People need to know that. So you have John Wall, a healthy John Wall, and like I said, I hope John is the starter because I think Reggie, to me, is more of an energizer bunny. He's more of a threat off of the bench. The issue with Reggie come playoff time at the end of the last year was he just got a little bit colder. Teams started, defenses change in the playoffs. Keep that in mind as well. But Reggie Jackson's coming off a really solid season. He's a really solid basketball player in general. But 17 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, maybe that isn't, maybe you look at that and you're like, all right, he can't really come off of the bench. We'll have John Wall come off of the bench. Either way, I love both Reggie Jackson and John Wall and the creative lineups that Ty Lue is going to be able to deploy. And it even gets a little bit deeper. I'd even say Xavier Moon, Luke Kennard, Boston Jr., those are solid players. But Terrence Mann, I think, is poised for a breakout season. This is an 11-point, 5-rebound, 3-assist player. He's a guy where if Terrence Mann got to like 15 points a game, that's a crazy-ass threat, especially coming off the bench. In general, I really like the career outlook of Terrence Mann, but at 25 years old, he's been in the league for 3 seasons, coming off a career year. The most he's played, 28.6 minutes a night. Most starts he's gotten in the season with 31, played in any 81 games. Like, you can rely on him. He stays healthy. Terrence Mann might be one of the X factors on this Clippers squad. Moving on deeper to this team, you got Norman Powell there. You got Amir Coffey. I do obviously have to talk a little bit about Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but I feel like it goes without saying. I mean, we saw briefly before Kawhi got hurt in the playoffs 2 years ago what this unit, or duo even, to just be more specific, what this duo of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard could do. It only boils down to health. That's all it boils down to. They have shown they can play together. They've shown they can play in several different schemes, several different teams. And if you have a healthy Paul George and you have a healthy Kawhi Leonard, and I'm talking like these guys are playing somewhere between at least 55 to 60 games this upcoming year, the Los Angeles Clippers, 100% in my mind, if those two players both hit over 55 games played, they're a top 4 seed in the West. I don't care how difficult the West is. This is one of the best teams on paper or off of paper. Like, they are one of the best, most powerful, and deepest teams in the entire NBA. I thought getting Zubats back, that's a huge move. Losing Hartenstein might be depressing, but at the same time, like his per block, bro, that guy just protects the rim, man. Hartenstein is a good get, and it kind of does suck. They went out, they got Moses Brown, I guess, as a collateral, but you got to keep in mind, for the, I don't want to go as far as say as majority, but the Los Angeles Clippers love their small ball. They love it. They'll throw Covington, they'll throw Batum, they'll throw Morris in at the 5, small ball 5. So as long as you have Zubats, and I also think Moses Brown is a very capable player in limited playing time, especially. I look at this team top to bottom, and they just have so much talent, dude. They have so much of everything you need. They have the stars, they have the bench, they have the depth, they have the coaching, they have the leadership. They have everything you want in a team. So Los Angeles Clippers, man, if they just stay healthy, I think a lot of people will agree with this take, is they're going to be a legitimate threat. And they'll probably, as we saw this past year, even if they aren't fully healthy all season, they'll probably still be a legitimate threat. That's how good they are. So let me know what you guys are thinking about the Los Angeles Clippers this upcoming season. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, especially if you guys want more Clippers content. I am going to be posting my deep dive on them probably tomorrow on September 6th. So that's it for today. Peace.